I think that the MAHA movement is really onto something in terms of our food supply. If you really pay attention when you go to the grocery store, it's disgusting. I mean, even the organic produce is suspect.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leila Show. We are here with the amazing Sherri Tenpenny, who, if most of you remember during COVID, she was very much an activist and somebody who spoke vocally about the dangers of the COVID shot. She really went all out to make sure that people had the information that they needed to make the right decision, which of course in my mind was to just not get that stupid thing. And you really would have like data and data and data. I mean, it was just so intriguing how much knowledge you had. So Dr. Tenpenny, I would love for you to take us back. Take us back to, I know when you graduated from medical school, there were only 3 shots then. Take us back to the moment you were red-pilled, where your mind was blown and you realized that you truly didn't learn enough about vaccines in medical school and that you were determined to help the cause and inform the public about the true dangers of childhood vaccines. Will you take us back?
Well, sure. Leila, thank you for inviting me on your show. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
My whole journey really started in September of 2000 when over the summer I got a trifold, simple little trifold brochure in the mail from the National Vaccine Information Center meeting. I'll never forget it. It was in a light gray print paper with black ink, and it was just a simple trifold 8.5 by 11 piece of paper talking about this conference that they're going to have. And by that time, I had been in emergency medicine. I'd been the director of a level 2 trauma center for 12 years, actually longer than that. And then I had had my clinic open in Cleveland, Ohio, doing integrated medicine since 1996. And then just serendipitously, I know it was just God sending them there. In the last couple of months before I got this flyer in the mail, I'd had several mothers in my office who came in with their little children, like babies, like under the age of 2. And they would be clutching them in their arms and sort of saying, "What are your thoughts about vaccines?" And they were just had this terror look in their eye. And I thought, well, I really haven't given vaccines much of a thought. I grew up in a chiropractic family. I was not vaccinated when I was a kid. I had measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox, pertussis. I had all of those things, and I never thought much about it. And in medical school, there was only 3 vaccines, and I don't really remember talking about them much. And it was in 1986 when the National Vaccine Childhood Injury Compensation Act was passed. That was in 1986, and then 91 is when the vaccine schedule started to ramp up precipitously. And I got this flyer in the mail in 2000, and I tried to not go. I tried to throw that flyer away multiple times, and somehow it kept ending up back on my kitchen counter. I even went so far as to call them and say, "When is your next meeting?" Going to Washington, D.C. in September wasn't a really great time for me to be leaving and going to a conference. And they said, "Well, we're just a really small nonprofit. We may not have another conference." And I thought, well, shoot, I better go. There must be somebody there important that I need to meet.
Wow.
Well, when I got there, it was a 3.5-day meeting with that. I heard doctors and lawyers and bench researchers and investigators and parents of vaccine injured children and parents of unvaccinated children talk for 3.5 days nonstop. And I was just mesmerized by this material. And when I came home, I thought, how in the world did I miss this? How did I not know anything, that there was a conflict, that there was a problem with vaccines? How did I not know this? I better look into this.
Wow.
And so I thought, well, where do I start? I guess I'll start with the CDC. They're the ones who are supposed to be experts on vaccines. So I went out and I printed out the general recommendations of vaccination, the 1998 version of it. They put those out now about every 2 or 3 years. And I read this 42-page paper and I thought, this can't be it. It was poorly written, very immature-ish. Every reference was the CDC. It would be like me writing an article and every footnoted reference was written by Dr. Tenpenny. So I kept quoting and quoting myself. It's like a circuitous circle. And I thought, there's got to be something more to this. This is just awful. And I spent the first 3 years really trying to figure out why we vaccinate these kids for all these infections that they're never going to get exposed to as babies. And I spent 3 years really angry and spending a lot of time trying to figure out why did we inject kids with chickenpox vaccines and hepatitis A vaccines and all these other things. And then each year it just got worse. And so they keep adding and adding and adding and adding to where now children get 20 jabs by the time they're 6 months of age. They get almost 30 by the time they're 1 year of age. And they get almost 40 by the time they start kindergarten. And they get all of those doses of vaccines. And I decided, a few months ago, that I really wasn't going to talk about the pediatric schedule anymore. I was going to call it what it is. It's a pediatric poisoning program that
Wow.
on schedule, on time, from pregnancy to 3 vaccines that they get after they're born to 7 vaccines each of 2, 4, 6 months. They get another 9 shots at 1 year of age. And it goes on and on and on. And that is a regimented, systematic planning of poisoning children on time and making parents feel guilty if they don't do it.
Yeah.
So from now on, I'm only going to call it what it is, the pediatric poisoning
I
schedule.
like that. I
Because
like
that's
that name.
exactly
That's
what it is.
exactly what it is.